Ragnar?
I'm saying with I will say Anchorage is playing some different people this time around compared to that first game around. So it's a little bit harder to guess which team, but I feel like Miami takes it. I feel like it's going to be our best game of the night, but I still feel like Miami's been together longer and has better synergy. I feel like they pull out the dub here.
They've gotten some new ads in the last couple of weeks. Can we, Vac, pretty please, can we open up the scoreboard real quick just so I can take a peek at who's playing for Miami? And okay. We got Eno, Watson, Bedmite, Ozzy, and Shadowfly. Okay, so you got Eno and Bedmite, the dynamic duo. Ozzy, not to be underestimated. Can definitely stay right up there in the frag department with them. Watson going to be on support. Flash kind of playing that kind of flex role. So I honestly think with this roster, I won't lie, it's not the best iteration of the roster. They do have a Dexy on there, but I do know his schedule is pretty full. But I do think this is a very, very well-rounded roster for them here. So we will be seeing them going to bank. I do have some insider info on their bank. They play it well. Um, I won't disclose if they play it better or worse than we do. But we are going to be seeing a Lockers defense come out here first, and we're going to see Bedmite on Goyo, which is about the last thing I would ever want to see in the lobby. Him with the Vector 1.5 is just hits Diffy for some reason, and it's not just him picking him for the Vector, because Goyo is a very useful op here on the basement. Um,
Oh, indeed.
for
The
first,
area of denial.
yeah, the area denial for sure, and then going kind of over at our attack here from Anchorage. Gonna wait before I assess their attacking lineup away from them to switch over. But first opinions looks okay. Seems like they're just sending Dalder and Sayless's um, drones in, saving the other three. So maybe just setting up flanks as well. I think they're going to stick with that. Lots of coverage for the flank watch. Ooh, swapping the thermite for the Bucks. They're not going to bring a genuine hard breach. Not going to bring a genuine hard breach, but it is basement. You can make do with those 4 can openers, I think.
Which they do have the 4 can openers equipped.
All right,
We're going to get the round started here. We're going to have, it looks like, I want to say Solus is the only person off site here for roaming for Miami. So not a big shocker there. Solus able to pretty much watch herself around, make sure she knows where they're fucking up. And here we,
lots of shots traded back and forth, lots of damage, but no kills.
And Miami's going to lose out on that engagement, losing health without landing any shots. I believe that was on to Dizzer or
I think it was Dog.
Jackal.
I think it was the Jackal with Dog on the window. Dog
picking up that intel, knowing that there's quite a few upstairs on open square. They are going to be playing with the hatches open, so kind of a smarter play here coming from Anchorage to forego the hard breach with the hatches already being open for these roamers. Interesting enough, only having one roamer up here. I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah, I don't think this is a strat I'm super familiar with. Typically, they are, if they're especially on their bank defense, they're much more aggressive getting up there on the top floors. So maybe we're just missing out on a little something there. But yeah, Eno here just playing the main marble stairs, waiting for the push. He fell off of open really early. I mean, maybe that was the idea, just burn through a couple drones, get out of there, and they have this site set up that is very strong.
And it has slowed down Anchorage, but we're going to see the immediate opening repick. It looks like Solus is going to retake upstairs. Or no, they're just going to push into Solus and immediately traded back out.
Good trade there. I already got this elevator hatch open. I would assume they have vault open or are about to. It does appear that they drowned out the whole top floor. Dog's going to take a little damage in an engagement with Ozzy on site. And yeah, they do have this vault hatch already open, so he's going to drown down. No one covering the drop right now. There is someone in vault lobby. I'm sure they're aware of the hatch being open. They just don't want to get too over-aggressive onto it. With a minute left and even man count. It's going to be Shadow Flash onto Dalder.
That looked like it was the, I would say, the elevator drop. And we're going to see Ray immediately go into an engagement here. Bedmite's going to lose out against Dizzer, I believe, there. And Shadow's immediately going to take the head off of Ray. And Dog is left in a 1v4, 1v3 technically. Now it's a
Oh,
1v1 essentially.
1v1 with Shadow. With 30 seconds left, he doesn't have to confirm the kills. He's not really feeding intel to him. But we'll see how he tends to play this. Health advantage in the favor of Shadow Flash. I don't know if he has any premonition of where the player is. He's going to pull out the goggles here, but he's not going to see any footsteps, and he is going to get taken out by Shadow Flash. Not technically a 1vx in the stats, but in our hearts it was.
And we almost saw Miami completely fumble the bag there in a
Yeah,
1v4 scenario.
they're an aggressive team, don't get me wrong, but they are a very disciplined team as well. They have a lot of experience on this roster. Was very surprised to see that happen.
And now we're going to be going all the way back up to the top floor. CU exec. And it looks like a basic lineup coming out of Miami here. We got the Castle play coming out with the mute. Interesting enough, we have the attackers selecting the Glass this time around while bringing the Thermite, which makes sense with Ace and Habana being banned away.
Yeah, my guess if they do take the glass, they're just gonna stick them on the top square door, just hold long angles. You toss a smoke down. Heck, you don't even have to bring smokes on the glass since you have him on the therm. You could have him bring nades for clear below, kind of get some synergy going, get that wall open. Use the therm smokes as your own glass cover. And depending on the upstairs setup, you can hold some really long angles, but that is very dependent on how the defense sets up the site. Because you can have this long angle over here on square, stretch all the way back to Trump and Banana. So really just depends how it's set up. But the glass, I think, nonetheless will be a good pick. 'Cause you always have those head holes on top square.
Does look like we have Mozzie potentially on the roam underneath with who's that? Castle as well, it looks like.
Castle. Yep. So my guess with that is just to hold off like an open or an ATM's push early in the round, and those fall back up to site. That's a little counterintuitive. You don't fall up, but you know.
We're going to start seeing some movement here from Anchorage as they get into position and probably take this square stock area. We do have some interesting rotates open. It looks like that's what Castle was doing downstairs, helping Mozzie get some different rotates to help him move around down here. And we're going to have Dizzer immediately pushing in here. See if we can get into an engagement with Mozzie.
I think the point of these rotates here just kind of give him some free rotation around the downstairs, just be able to C4 wherever he wants. I'm assuming that's why he's down here. Oh, he's gonna see the head of the player in kitchen, miss all his shots, and they're gonna back out and say, "I didn't see you." And it's gonna be Disser here on the kitchen, and it could be pinched out by the Jackal of Dog if he pushes in through metal. But for now, that's gonna be the Mozzie of Eno trapped, but they're just gonna fall off. They're gonna leave him there. They're gonna say, "Sights upstairs. We don't need to worry about him." You could just pin someone in tellers. Honestly, you don't need to worry about him in open if you're not taking stock. I do get that play.
But Dog is going to lose his life to Bedmite here on the Castle. Not sure where that engagement came from here. Maybe it looks like
a long
Banana.
angle. Yeah, he's playing in Trump, playing the long angle there. We played this against them in scrims, this long angle. I do enjoy it. It's set up differently than ours, but I definitely do like that angle with 1.5. Easy hold as Shadow's going to use some holes to his advantage, putting some holes into say less. Now the breach is open. Bedmite's going to get taken down in tunnel by the Disser up on top square. He's going to be refragged though by Shadow Flash. That's going to bring him into a 4v2, but he's going to get refragged as well. The trade just going back and forth.
And immediately another retrade.
Wow.
And
the trade's going back and forth. I traded the words in the phrase left and right and back and forth. But definitely a good round from, I would say, from both teams. Anytime you get refrags coming back and forth like that, that's a good sign that both teams have good team play, good comms, and they're playing off each other very well.
Indeed,
but it tends to go in favor of the team who had man advantage going into execute there, which holds true.
Which we saw which we saw Miami take by taking out Dog on the Jackal from that long angle by Castle. And now we're going to be going to a staff open area for our tertiary site for Miami. Interesting enough. Let's see what type of lineup we get here. We're getting a slight variation of what their top lineup was, bringing out a Maestro and a Oryx. A little bit faster mobility for Shadow here on the Oryx, and Watson's going to be playing more of that intel grab with Maestro, we're going to have ISO switching off the flank watch and taking the hard breach, and we're going to see Ray switching from the hard breaching, I believe is what he was playing, to the flank watch of Gridlock. We're also seeing a Fuse come out and a Maverick coming out as well.
Okay, so
a little bit
break
shift up
down,
of roles here.
Shift on roles, but to break down some of these picks, I'm going to start with the attack. Ray, sorry. The gridlock for the flank watch, I think more so for the execute. This is his kind of a force your way into sight, get the plant down type sight.
Exactly.
And we have seen a lot more gridlock in these playdays than I would have expected to see, but to each their own. The Fuse definitely taking advantage of the fact that these first floor sites have a lot of verticality on them. Whether or not you're getting kills with them, you can definitely clear out some utility, helps you put down a plant. On the defensive side, I think the player to keep an eye on is D. Watson on this Maestro. I do play Maestro in a similar setup on the site, so I'm assuming with his positioning with the bailiff, he actually doesn't have impacts. Okay, so that's interesting. So he's just going to be playing in here on the chairs on kitchen in order to just hold down printer vault and the double door walk in. But
And
Eno won't be
Anchorage is
walking
gonna...
anywhere because that's going to be disregarding a frag onto him to open things up here.
We see a very heavy vertical presence here from Miami. Once you lose the top floor of this site, usually it's very hard to maintain any of these middle floor sites. The verticality comes into a big play here, which is why we don't see Shadow initially completely falling off here. We're going to see ISO getting the second pick onto Ozzy onto the Mozzie here. That's going to be outside janitor closet there.
2 in the first minute. That's definitely a good start here. So yeah, definitely what I thought was,
and
Shadow
Shadow
on the flank. No one's
completely
aware, but the
alone.
gridlock sucks up bullets like she's a sponge. She's still got 75 health left. He's just gonna tuck himself in a corner here and hope that no one realizes. Say, ISO's gonna go down to Bedmite. Let your hard breach down. Gridlock's just gonna run through after getting shot, and now it's a 3v3, and you've got just no defuse in hand of the attackers, and you still have a wild Shadow Flash just roaming around the top floor. Does seem like we're going to try and make an ingress here into Tellers, and he's going to get mowed down by Bedmite. That's a dog gone. That's your Mav gone. That's your Flash is gone, but you still have Buck up, so you still have a couple of those to get into sight if you do so wish. But he is down now, too. That's Shadow Flash, still wreaking havoc on this top floor. He's 7-1, and not even a full 3 rounds yet, as it's left all onto Dalder, who still is seeking his first frag of the game.
And from dream round for Anchorage, 2 opening kills to now in a 1v3 scenario. I
wouldn't want to be in their comms right now.
That is an understatement for sure, but it definitely seems like something's breaking down here. We had Gridlock absorbed rounds upstairs, completely disregarded that Oryx might still be in there. And the rest of Anchorage seemed to disregard it and just wanted to push sight, and now we're left with this pick around the corners, and he's gonna lose to the super shotty.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, Shadow Flash's play very good. Just he never got droned. He took advantage of that. Used what map control he had. Made the attackers think they had map control that they didn't. But the biggest thing was when he took the engagement on the gridlock, she never saw where he ran away. He just disengaged, so he assumed he was gone. And then just sprinting through again. No drones, despite the fact in the moment they had all. Never mind, that's reinforcements. Honestly, the biggest thing looking at replay, when he shoots her in the back, they only have 3 drones left on the board. So, I mean, there's not a lot of whole intel to be grabbed at that point. So I think that's something, their drone economy, they definitely gonna have to work on. I'm gonna pay a little more attention to how they manage this in this prep phase, because I think that's where the root of all your drone economy problems will kind of start at, is how many you throw away in the prep phase. To me, it should never be more than 2. I think even that's a little extreme. 1 finds the site, or at least looks at site reinforcements and figures that out for the most part. If you can't, you send a second in, and then you save the other 3. But that's just my opinion. So everyone's got a different philosophy to Siege, because there's a million different ways to play the game. So we'll see the philosophy coming out here for the defense. Gonna see Bedmite on the Goyo again, so I will be quivering up in bed under a quilt. And back on that Solus, who wreaked havoc on the drone intel the first round.
And we're going to
You're
be
gonna
having
see
some role swaps coming out of Anchorage again here for this attack on the basement. ISO switching to the Jackal. We have Dalder now on the hard breach. Dizzer's going to be sticking his buck. Ray is now on the flank watch with 0 potentially, and Dog is now on the sledge.
something I'd like to know. Already 3 drones gone, the other 2 out. So, and then 5 in pocket, of course. But I'm not sure. I don't think they've lost one yet in the action phase, except they just lost 2. They're already down to 5 drones. 5 drones, only I believe 1 left in pocket. 4 of them are out, so they're able to be shot. Eno is just sucking up utility and then just drops off. Same strat as they ran the first round. Will drop off. They leave the hatches open. They will play extended from garage with Bedmite and in red to kind of counter that execute. And then, will kind of pick his time to play aggro or just hold a marble. And without drones, this site's hard to attack. You don't know what of the millions of long angles are being held when you don't have that much intel. They are down to 4 drones now.
Indeed, Miami's just plucking the eyes out of Anchorage and then saying, toodaloos.
Interesting breach from Dalder here, going for the server wall as opposed to the one close on computer cart. Computer cart opens up the opportunity to open up the kind of plant tucked in the breach. You do have that fire going off right now, but maybe just opening it up to give a player an opportunity to cover on the plant, as we are still in a 5v5 here, working down to an execute here with a minute 15 left to play. Going to be
Ray's going
very
to be
interesting to see where they go.
Ray's going to be losing some health here. It looks to Ozzy as they exchange bullets, but not as Buck loses his complete health down to 1 HP, and Dog is completely headed by Ozzy on the Mozzie. That's a mouthful to say.
Yeah, I think we need to
But we are
just
seeing a
ban Mozzie against him.
potential. We are seeing a potential execute trying to become out here by Anchorage, getting the plant down as they wait for the Goyo utility to vanish out of here.
Dalder looks like he's just going to walk through this gate as there's nothing else to burn. And the long angle from garage is going to see him as he doesn't have the right side of this wall opened up, and he's going to get mowed down from the garage angle from Bedmite. I've had that happen too many times to watch people do it themselves. Oh, it's now a 5v3. It's firmly intact in the hand of Miami here, as Ray's going to go down as well, moving to a 5v2. Not a whole lot Say Less can do, as the tap fire is going to come out, going to land but not complete, as there's about a combined 15 health tops between the 2 players left here for Anchorage. 7 seconds left, the smoke out. This round's all but done and dusted.
Indeed. Seems like Anchorage just does not have an answer for any of these defensive holes. Miami's just playing the utility in the slowdown game, and once they've knocked out all those drone powers, some misplayed drones here probably. I will say that I'd like to see Anchorage maybe having some bodies behind these drones instead of just sending them in there, getting intel, and then immediately having them picked out, where you're yes gaining intel, but you're not gaining any hard ground. You're
Yeah,
pushing in here, and you're
you're
gaining
getting
the
intel, but you're
intel,
not
and then
acting on it.
immediately losing that intel after
Yeah,
those drones are gone, and you have nothing to say for it at that point.
yeah,
It's very mismanagement drone here play from Anchorage,
yeah.
but
You need the
very well
drones
done
up,
by
and
Miami.
I think that my kind of, again, we'll go into philosophies, but um you need to treat a drone like almost a shield operator with no shield. You need to play behind them trying to trade them, because otherwise, if you go for a frag after the drone gets shot, you're playing on old intel, which isn't useful to you anyways. And if you push in right behind a drone, it can serve as a distraction if they don't know you're pushing behind it. But just in all, you just need to be better with your drones. You need to push behind them like a caboose on a train. You need them to get in first and take the brunt of the bullets, but you need to be able to quickly act off that and not just toss them away into the wind for free. I did
Indeed.
like the timeout call from Anchorage. They needed it. Obviously, down 4-0, you might be going, well, it's kind of obvious you take a timeout. But some teams, would rather wait till their defensive half to call them because, it's a little more strategic. There's a little more to talk about. But I think, you've attacked the same site twice now. The adjustments you made on that site didn't work. So it's time to take a step back, really sit there, talk about what went wrong without having anyone playing the game. If everyone commit to the conversation, commit to another strategy, and I think commit to another slight role change, as everything's been very fluid with Anchorage's lineup.
Indeed, it doesn't seem like anybody's set on any hard role plays here, as we see a lot of swaps coming out after that pause. I personally would have liked to see the timeout come out after that 3 split where we saw Miami go to all 3 of their sites and win them. It seemed like the communication was a little bit off there after that third attack. Definitely seemed like there wasn't any cohesion on that last attack underneath. Like, yes, you had the walls open and you had the execute come in, but now we're going to be seeing a Brava come out. I think that's the first time tonight we're going to see Brava. Or no, I'm sorry, that's mistaken. I did see Brava in one of the earlier matches. But what's first time we're going to see it tonight in this match with ISO on it. We're going to see Dalder now on the hard breach. Dizzer, who seems to be the only one that plays a same character, and he's going to actually end up with the opening kill onto Bedmite onto the castle here.
That's a
And
good pick right there, as he's been frying with 1.5s all game. One thing I will note, when we got into the rounds, not now, Shadow Flash has been, I mean, not necessarily quietly, but still quietly putting up a very good game. Had as many frags as Anchorage had combined. Obviously, in a 4-0, that's to be expected. Like, you're not going to put up a bunch of kills, but still, very impressive coming out game for him here.
And again, we're going to see some drones coming in, but with nobody behind him. As we do see a very aggressive hold here from Miami, and he's going to lose that engagement to Dog here. Now we're seeing Anchorage up on a 2. As I say that,
Okay.
Miami
I think
completely
we've both
equalizes, and we're
just
back to a
caster cursed
3-3.
in that. So I was singing Shadow's praises, then he gets mowed down by Zofia. You gotta say there's a 2-man advantage, and then there's not. We're gonna see Dolder trying to avoid the mute jammer here. It may be doubled up. If not, he may be able to fit it on the right side of the wall, but he may have already tried that. I'm not aware. We'd have to go to the third person view to see that, but he is gonna try and get this other wall open here by the CEO desk. That will be coming open. I believe they got the mute jammer off the other wall instead, so they will be opening that up as well. It gets opened up, just misses the head on the guy in Janitor. Still a 3v3 here, minute left. 4 drones still up, they're all out.
If
And
only they had
3 of them
drones on this
belonging to
man
their...
and
Yeah,
Janitor.
yeah, so they have 3 drones on the guys that are still alive. And they have the Yana drone, the Yana replicator, still refreshing. She just sends it out right now. And Ozzy's still just wasting time, and Janitor not getting any kills, but will be get fragged out by Disser as one drops on the breach. Now a 2v2. They cannot separate. What a shot from Disser onto Eno. He's going to move it down. He's sticking this plant down. Left on D. Watson, still searching for his first frag, but he hasn't really had to see people this game. He's 0-1. It's round 5. So he's going to be trapped in elevator here, but Ray's going to drop off and give him the ability to leave since he only has 1 health. It's going to be on Ray to take the 1s here as he kind of has the players split up. Yana booking it over to Square to make sure they can double up and ensure a refrag here. He may be able to long arm this though. He can sit here, hits
Indeed, he's
once,
going for it.
sticking it. Shots from below
He's
aren't
sticking
hitting.
it.
He's pushing up from
He's going to
Square.
make it.
He doesn't have any ammo!
Oh my goodness.
He had no ammo in the skeleton key, but he could have just used the rifle, and he doesn't. Instead, he goes for the knife after it's confirmed. That was your best round yet, and then that happens to end it. D. Watson, player of the round, and he still doesn't have a kill.
Man said, I don't need to kill anybody. I'm just going to win the round. Who needs bullets?
He's my fellow counterpart on support on Miami. They're a scrim partner. We get each other's playstyles very weird. We have both accepted our job is to hold Square, and he just fully commit to it right there.
Indeed, and that's going to put Miami up 5-0 against Anchorage. I don't know about you, but I would like to hope to see Anchorage at least take one offensive round here away from the defense.
Yeah,
And
that
not
would be
go into the
advantageous.
defensive half 6-0.
We've only seen, I believe, one 6-0 half so far, and that was Tampa Bay on Chalet week 1. So hopefully no jinx, but you know, we've already cursed a couple of things this game. So moving forward, I think you got to look at the bright sides if you're Anchorage, because you want to bring this game back. Looking at the negatives aren't going to help you right now. The mid-round in the execute and the acting off drones was better. It wasn't great, but they were still able to, you know, trade util for kills at points. And they kept either an even man count or a slight man advantage all the way into the execute where they got it down. It was just the post plant hold they got too passive on. So they probably
Yep.
addressed the things they talked about in their timeout. I think it was still a good use of a timeout, but when you haven't gotten a plant down yet, you're not going to be discussing how to hold post plants in the timeout. So just another adjustment they're going to have to make, and
And
Ray's going to
Ray
have
is
to adjust his head as it's now on the ground.
as Shadow continues his reign of terror on defense here, moving up to 8-2 now. Ozzy's going to get into an engagement with Say less ISO. Both are going to lose health, but are going to choose to walk away from that engagement as
Come on, you can do
Ozzy
it.
tries to shoot drones here.
I think you got it. Yeah, you got it. And just another, yeah, he whiffed on the drone, but you need to be able to punish him
And
for whiffing on that drone there. You can't be dropping after you hop off the drone when he knows where you just got off cams. And that's going to cost Disser his life. Maybe not necessarily the cam thing, but Eno's going to get it
oh
on the
my,
ISO, and everyone is going to drop in succession like they're dominoes, and it is now 6-0. Maybe they should have saved the timeout. I think right now would be a great time to take it. Order some
uh,
pizza because they just went down like dominoes. Maybe they could get a sponsorship. I know Ray's has been doing their fair share of sponsorship hunting. Maybe it's time to look somewhere if you're Anchorage. But
I'm not
6-0
sure.
heading into defense. It is defense. I get it. And defense is inherently easier in Siege since the attackers have to come to you. But with the meta, that doesn't make it necessarily favored. Do you think they stand a chance of even, I don't know, even starting a comeback or avoiding a 7-0 embarrassment here?
Avoiding the 7-0, I do see that as a possibility. Staging a comeback, I don't see the mental there. Like for instance, the round that they should have won where they got the plant down, you see them become so passive because one's on 1 HP, the other one's he's closer to
Around
full
50,
HP,
yeah.
but they played so passive there. Like I feel like they're mental. They just don't. I feel like they don't feel like they can win gunfights, and that is not the
I
mental
think
that you want to have going into the defense round, where you need to take these fights to give yourself the man advantage, to give this comeback a chance to run up the rounds and hopefully make it a 6-6 overtime, and at least get some points out of this. But I'm gonna be the pessimist here, and I do say Anchorage gets one round here, but I don't think they make the comeback at all.
yeah, I don't see a comeback in the cards. I do think they can probably string together a round or two. Just give another on the defense, kind of a change of scenery, so to speak. I don't see anything miraculous coming out of this, though. I agree that the mental looks chalked, but I don't think it's for the right reasons. Not that they can't win gunfights, it's that they're taking gunfights on bad info or on old
Or on
info.
no info.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's always going to favor a defender. So, because you have to push into them, they don't have to push you. You're always going to be at disadvantage if you don't have that info. So, I think the logic is a little misleading there if that's the reason why. That's kind of what's running through their heads. But we will see how that switches on defenses. The intel game swaps, it switches
And we
hands.
are gonna be seeing Dog here going a little bit aggressive here against the Buck. Just gonna shoot some rounds through the wall and then a break away, but he's gonna immediately be swung and pinched by
Great comms. Eno gets the good.
Ayana.
Yeah, Eno gets the refrag there. Great comms, great push through. Would hope like that you hear the beeper going off. Maybe he knew he was dead by that point. Maybe he just didn't hear it. There,
And
it
Smoke
is.
almost
It's
loses
siege
his
sound.
head as well there.
Yeah, very big furry head popping around the corner. Don't want to expose that too much. But yeah, definitely not wanting to lose the man advantage here as they already have. Not where you want to be, and they're already falling off kind of towards this vault side. They got 2 or 3 players over by Vault and in Vault Lobby. Eno's just holding true on Marble, making sure no one's going to make this cross. The Nook of Bedmite's going to make his way in Garage, kind of being the little sneaky man he's supposed to be as Hatch gets opened up.
Time is working for the advantage of Anchorage as they are now on the defensive side. But that being said, being a man down here, you also have Miami completely at full health, and ISO is going to be completely aware as Plant is just going straight down, and nobody seems to be calling it.
Yeah, full server control in hand of the
Mm.
attackers. Nothing the defenders can do here. What I really want to see is D. Watson win this game going 0-1. We're going to see Dalder get a pick on a Shadow Flash. Watson just chilling here. Looks like he's trying to make my dream come true. Bedmite's going to get the frag onto Dalder. Ozzy onto Ray. Bedmite onto Disser. ISO onto Ozzy. And it's going to leave ISO all alone. And he will fall in the 1v3. Not anything he could have hoped to do there. He did everything he could. And that's going to be our first 7-0 here in Hyper Series if we're not counting